Hello, Western Civ. I meant to have this video for you on Sunday, but as you know, I just moved, and so my now I went from a 2-bedroom apartment to living in a room at my cousin's house. Him and his wife just bought. I downsized because I'm getting ready for maybe some travel, just saving some money, and my daughter moved out with her boyfriend, and so anyways, that's not relevant to all this. The bottom line is I did move, but look, I lived in this beautiful town. This is a park here in the Woodstock area, southeast Portland, and I'm not doing it to make you jealous, but I do want you to do your best to get out of the house as well sometime, and try to be where there's beautiful things, right? Anyhow, you'll notice this week that I do very little in lecturing, and I just have a few videos to post. I thought this section would be, I don't know, we're Western Civ, and now we're transitioning into the impact of the West on non-Western nations and people. And I just thought that these videos would be sufficient for getting you thinking about some of the consequences of that. And this is actually the heart of the dilemma of the way that now the West and Western civilization is being perceived, is that while Western civilization has produced many amazing things, as all other civilizations have as well, the problem is we have this legacy of the West that is it's this negative impact on people that are still alive and have a different way of seeing it. And I kind of addressed this in some of the parts of in my lectures. I just want to give you an idea. When I moved up here to Portland, when I go to a lot of cultural events or just meet people at cafes, bars, I see a lot of Native Americans. I don't mean like, how you have like, many of you will say, or somebody will say, well, I'm part Native American, and what they're saying is their great-great-grandparent was Cherokee or something. No, I'm talking about there are reservations out here. And people not just living on reservations, I mean, in our community, people wearing braids, having feathers and beads, and speaking their indigenous language, and wearing shirts indicating pride in that. From here up in Portland, up and through Washington, and when I drive up into Canada, I have never met so many natives, indigenous people in my life. And it really kind of hit me like, wow, these are the people who lived here for a very long time. And our civilization, who I am, this was at their expense. And it's kind of a heavy thing to think about, right? And it's something that they're very aware of. And it's not like, we're all getting along, but at the same time, like, there's this consciousness of this. I mean, think about this. Oregon didn't get integrated into the United States until the 19th century. So we're talking about, this is very recent, the kind of the full-on European settlement of these lands. And especially, you go into Canada and they if you go up north, I start seeing bilingual signs in different, I think it's the Chumash language. This is something that I need to work on in terms of my own history. But it's hard because there's a lot of different tribes and different names. And I am friends with a woman who is from a tribe in California. And she talks about how it's overwhelming. There's so many different groups of people. But the bottom line, my point is that here we are in this beautiful place. This not that long ago, wouldn't have seen many people looking like me. And you can say that about many other parts of the world. And so this is this is a complex thing, right? And if you look at the context that we talked about slavery, I just want to quickly say, slavery has always been a global problem. We say problem now because now in our modern society, we definitely view it as a problem, as bad. But Aristotle had a whole discussion of the ethics of slavery. And you look, I'm not going to say every society had slavery, but too many societies had slavery. What ends up being different about slavery in the United States is the shift to it being strictly of people of African descent. And if you read Thomas Jefferson's notes on Virginia, I think is what it is, he basically says, well, you know, in Roman society and in Greece, the slaves basically looked the same as their masters, and they could be integrated into society. This is what Thomas Jefferson's pointing out, by the way. And then he says, but not the African. They could never be integrated into our society. That was his thought. And so we have this problem where skin color is something that you see to represent the idea of your status. And this wasn't the normal case with slavery. By the way, especially now, but not just in America now, but the idea of racism strictly being based on the color of one's skin is also a unique form of racism. When Hitler hated the Jews, or hating Jews, keep in mind the reason why they had to have a yellow star is because many of them looked like Germans. Racism within Europe, between, you know, the way that the way that maybe Germanic people viewed Slavs, for example, wasn't based on skin color. Racism can be based on an imagined conception of something about the ethnicity or this one particular group. So it's complicated, but we oversimplify things here sometimes. But the bottom line is, skin color in the United States was a thing, and it still is a thing, and it's something that we have to address in context to all of this. And you know, Europe's now going through kind of similar sets of things. I feel like I can go off on too many different tangents, but I hope that you're at least kind of taking in this week's lesson and meditating upon it, and kind of thinking about maybe some of the dilemmas that we're facing now, and looking into, you know, saying like, well, so what direction do we take our history now, right? So anyways, that's all I have to say about this. Have a great day, and we'll be in touch.